you have a plan, God laughs.
'Cause I will rise, you can't hold me down. Watch me unfold, I'll keep it strong. And I won't hide, I will live it loud. Through highs and the lows, I won't let go. Undeniable.
I look so much better on that camera than that camera. Anywho, I've got my water ready for my meeting. A pen, notebook, phone, just in case. And yeah, let's get ready to talk. What is this, Gleam technically? What the fuck? Is that a hawk? The house is a bit of a mess. I'm a bit of a mess. And today the plan was always to do like kind of like a live plan with me. Still might happen, to be honest. I feel pretty good right now. So might just pop on live, see how it goes. But I need to pack for Virginia. I'm gonna organize a little bit of this stuff, do the dishes. I have a nail appointment at 1 p.m. and I feel like I'm forgetting something. I just got news last night that Plants of Krog closed. That was something I didn't anticipate. So I also think that that's why I really want to do a good plan with me. So I realized that life always does those kind of moments where it's like you have a plan, God laughs, you pivot. So I think that that might be kind of the theme. Maybe I'll pull some quotes from the pivot year or something, but unreal. It was crazy because they just promoted somebody. That's why when somebody reached out to me, I thought they were like gonna tell me about this promotion. It was gonna be like a cute conversation, and then it was like, just kidding, last service. I don't know. It's like, is it better or worse that there's like such a clean slate for everybody for August? So I'm excited to go work in a new kind of atmosphere. I'm excited to drive tomorrow. We always love a little last minute road trip. And to be honest, like I said, I had such a good plan for the last time that I went, and I don't know if this will go up before or after the prior pack job, but I do have a good amount of things already pulled for it. I know what books I'm bringing. I kind of know my plan of action, and lodging is already accommodated. So let's get ready to make August 2025 our bitch. It's been a long year, y'all. Wow.
Now it's time to head to the movies with our cinematic crusader. Here with another titanium take, here's our movie Maven Kai.
Well, hey there, everybody. It is I, your movie Maven Kai. I'm still very much recovering from Warped Tour last weekend. Obviously, I'm just peeling like a lizard. It's so gross, but what an experience. It was so much fun. So much fun, in fact, that I already have my tickets for next year. So And next year, I'm already, prepared. I have my cream sunblock rather than my aerosol stuff because they don't let you bring the aerosol cans inside. And so it was a rough weekend, but, we stayed mostly hydrated the second day. And we had an absolute blast. It was great. I highly recommend it to anybody who has the means and the ability. Hopefully we'll see you in Long Beach next year. I have been trying really hard to find that time and to do things for, myself and the people that, I love and I care about. And Warped Tour was definitely one of those. Jude and I went and just had such an incredible time. And, last night I thought about it. I was like, oh, it's been a couple of days since I've, taken, some dedicated time for me. So I sat down and I watched a movie that came out 6 years ago that I had fully intended on seeing in theaters, because the trailer, really made me go, ooh. And I hadn't seen that from, essentially it's a horror movie. It's more of a suspense sort of thriller. There's definitely, like, once you get to the end, some crazy stuff. And it's called Ma. It's such a packed cast. If you've not seen this movie, it's a trip. Okay, so you got Octavia Spencer playing Ma, and you've got Allison Janney and Luke Evans and Juliette Lewis, and just like it's a stacked cast, and then a bunch of mostly unknown teen actors that have since gone on to do a handful of other things each, and it's a Blumhouse movie, which I'm always sort of 50-50 on. I'm always like, some things they knock it out of the park, and other things you're like, this one was a mixture of the two. So if you've not seen it, it's Octavia Spencer plays Ma. Her name is Sue Ann, and she's, this lady who, is kind of a smaller town chick. She works in a veterinary office, and she is approached by a bunch of teenagers who go, hey, can you go buy us a bunch of booze? And at first she's like, no, I'm not going to do that, and blah, 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 blah. And then she ends up doing it. Then she basically notices the truck that the kids are in, or a work truck. And having lived in this town her whole life, she knew, who the owner was. So she calls up and she's like, hey, these kids are out at the rock piles, drinking, and you might want to, do something about it. And, when she meets up with them again at one point, and that's kind of where I started going, well, how do they know where to find her? Like, what is this? But okay, small town, maybe. She goes, hey, why don't you guys party in my basement? That way I don't have to worry about you drinking and driving or getting in trouble and, all of that stuff. And they go there and, they have an interesting night, and she's already kind of showing like some sort of weird, vibes, but the kids kind of take it as her trying to be cool to the kids, and so the next time they go there, the basement's all done up and, it's ready for partying. She's notified like the entire school, this is the place to hang out and get drunk and get high and, do whatever. And, she becomes like the hero of, this town's, teenage population. And so there's just kids in her basement all night, every night, doing it up. And she starts like really kind of becoming unhinged. At first you think, well, she's, a lonely woman who, wants to, connect, and that's the way that she can, because she can provide something to these teenagers and she's getting something out of it. And then you start realizing she has a vendetta against their parents. And that's where the first twist comes in. And then there's several twists that come in, after that, where you start realizing just how like deranged this woman is. And one of the girls, who, her mom just moved her back to this, this town after they, if she gets divorced and, all of this, she starts realizing it. And she's like, I don't think we need to go over there anymore. I think this is a bad idea. I think this is, something that we need to watch out for. And she tells all her friends that, and another twist happens and another twist and another twist. And, it ends up with, the core group, in this basement, fighting for their lives, essentially. the issue that I have with a lot of Blumhouse films, and this is, horror movies in general usually, run into this, is that it ties itself up in a bow at the end a little too quickly. There's a few too many questions. And, from one side of it, you can go, well, they left that open here, there, maybe they're planning a sequel, maybe they're doing another thing, maybe we get a false ending, but then the credits start to roll. And you're just like, okay. And it kind of fell flat for me. Up into like the last 20 minutes or so, it had incredible exposition. It had really good storytelling. You really got a good sense of who these people were, through, really what kind of feels like natural conversation. You found out things, in a way where it did kind of feel like you were either a fly on the wall or, another one of these kids, on this little adventure. But yeah, once it gets to the end, you're just kind of flat. So I didn't love it. And, it was a choice between that and Black Phone, which is another one that I haven't seen. It came out like right when I started grad school and I was like, there's no way. But I mean, I'll watch pretty much anything that Ethan Hawke is in because he makes really, interesting choices and is always so good in like everything. Like I'll sit down and watch Reality Bites like anytime, like to this day. But yeah, so I'm a little upset that, I did Ma instead of Black Phone, because I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. But, that'll be my next, I'm going to relax and sit down and actually watch a movie, kind of thing. But I do recommend it if you like, those kind of twisty and turnies and, maybe it'll, sit well for you. Maybe you'll dig it if you've seen it, let us know. But I mean, really, like I said, the trailer was so good for this movie. It was one of those that didn't give away everything, and which is another trap that usually happens with horror movies is you see the whole movie, in the trailer and you're like, oh, okay, well, you can kind of decipher who the bad guy is just from that. Especially with like thrillers. With horror movies, you tend to have a guy in a mask or, paranormal kind of thing going on. And it's, it's a little bit more, folded in. But this one, who the bad guy is because it's the whole premise of the movie. But all the way through it, you're going like, who's in on it? Who else is a bad guy? What else is happening because of, where the plot goes. So yeah, Octavia Spencer, once again, doing an amazing job. She really makes this character uncomfortable, but somehow like you get why the kids really like her. There is a likability. There's not so much a charm, but there's a sensitivity, a vulnerability to her, in a lot of ways. So yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, part of me really likes it. I was really disappointed in the ending. But like I said, this is all part of me, making a conscious effort to, find that time for myself. And whether it's, an hour and a half, 2 hour movie or sitting down and just, doing my nails or, messing with my hair. I'm always messing with my hair. It's so very important. And it's really necessary to, keep your head in the right place. Especially these days, guys, there's a lot going on, and I say that almost every week, but it seems like it compounds every week, and I am a serial, news watcher. And I know how, damaging that can be too, but it's one of those things where because of the kind of anxiety that I have, if I don't know what's happening, minute to minute, if I don't have, that awareness or that understanding, I kind of freak out, because I sit there and you catastrophize. You make catastrophes in your head. Worst case scenario, all of that stuff, because you want to, be prepared. And then, when the bad stuff really goes down, if it's not, the apocalyptic bad that you think it is, then you are more able to handle it, so you'd think it'd be counterproductive, but here we are. But I highly, highly suggest whether you're, one of those people, like me, or you're somebody who, just has, maybe already that tendency to, do something for yourself, keep doing that. Keep making time for yourself. Make time for the people that you care about, whether it's, a 20-minute phone call with somebody or a 3-hour phone call with somebody, whether it's going to catch a movie or go grab some ramen, then, go and do that, even if it's, once a week, just to, kind of decompress. And it doesn't always have to be a weekend, guys. It gets so busy and there's always so much stuff going on, and it's kind of hard to relax in a situation like that. Even if you're having a good time, you get that, adrenaline rush, and it's fun. It's great. But being able to have the relaxation time is so important. Especially now when we're seeing, increased cases of, sickness. And I mean, it's everything from, like, out here in the valley, we have West Nile virus going around right now. There's another COVID spike. There's, all different kinds of stuff. And, where we're more able to handle it and care for ourselves and everybody else in those situations than we were 5 years ago. It's still super important to make sure that, you're taking your vitamin C and you're getting your daily, multivitamin, and you're drinking enough water and you're getting your protein, but you're also getting your vegetables. And it sounds like so much, and it is a lot of responsibility to take care of yourself. So being able to just sort of unplug and, focus on something else is, just the best medicine. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope that you're getting your time. I hope that you're making your money. I hope that you are, in somewhat constant communication with people that you love, that you can, build up and that build you up back. I hope that your relationships are going good. I hope that, your pets are all doing well. I hope that, the rent is paid and there's a little bit left over. I hope all of those things for you guys. It's August. And so it is very much, time for us to be gearing up for, the holidays. Get those good, mental health habits in place now so they can carry you through. I hope you're getting your, Halloween figured out, that too. But we love you guys. We love you so much, and we want, abundance and health and everything that, you've been working for to come to fruition. And those are the intentions that we put forward to you. And we hope that they return to us. And I mean, really, guys, as long as you're drinking your water and you're taking your meds, we'll be back next week. We'll see you every week. We'll do everything that we can. You do everything that you can, because we can only do what we can with what we have. Love you guys.